Hello and welcome back to Slide 2 Band of Thieves. We're collecting the bottles as we tend to do near the beginnings, and I want to take this time to talk about this level itself. Let's get the positives out of the way first, because, you know, it's the first impressions that stick. They're the ones that matter the most. I love the setup to this level a lot. The fact that the big heist we just did was a success on our part, in that everything according to plan went, you know, as such, according to plan. We didn't actually get the opportunity to stop Rajan, meaning he now got away and is still continuing with his illegal spice business. I actually like the fact that we didn't even end on a boss battle just because it subverts expectations. Because now we've established that not every chapter needs to end in the same way, like it did in the first game or like it did in the first episode of this game. Suddenly, anything can happen, and that alone just makes the entire adventure all the more exciting because it's unpredictable now. And without spoiling any details, of course, this is a pattern that sticks throughout. I haven't really talked much about the story up to this point, but that's because all I really want to say about that for now, is that I feel the structure is really good. Okay, so about the negatives. This level is easily one of, if not my absolute least favorite in the game. Do you remember a short while ago when we bought the higher jump thing for Mary? And I said, oh, some levels are gonna be, you know, a lot more vertical and probably better thought of for Slide than any of his friends. This is first and foremost what I was thinking of. This level is pretty vertical. There's a lot of tall trees and big buildings and large structures and a lot of things to be climbed on and walked on and things that are really only accessible to Sly. But even with that said, traversing this area even as Sly can be a bother, but trying to navigate your way around as Mary or even Bentley is a nightmare! Granted, there isn't much of a reason to be playing as Bentley or Murray because they don't really have a lot of missions in this area, but even going through this area as Sly, with all of his advantages and everything, is a pain. In addition, as you clearly saw last time, and this is probably just a personal thing, I'm sure this won't apply to everyone, but I find this place really hard to navigate, just because it all looks exactly the same. I don't know, I just find it really easy to get lost here. Even though there are several things to sort of use as landmarks as there have been before. You have the big temple with the big trunks, and there's the big tower that leads to different trees, and the other big wobbly tower, for example. There's a lot of checkpoints, and there's a lot of details that you can latch onto. But there's just something about the whole structure of this area that feels all very samey to me. I don't know how to better explain it, but as you can clearly see, it does pose a sort of problem because the bottles in this level are probably some of the hardest bottles for me to find in the entire game. In fact, to admit to an embarrassing happening, I actually collected all 30 bottles and then kept looking around for another good 10 minutes before realizing I actually had them all. I don't know, my mind was stuck at 28 for some reason when I had 29, and then I got one and I kept going. It was frustrating, but it got recorded. I'll show it at the end here. Now, okay, for my last point about why I don't particularly care for this level, there's a select few areas that are placed in such ways that they can only really be reached by needlessly complicated and time-consuming ways. One such area is where you can see me go right now. This trek, up the tall tower, through all these ropes, over the top of the temple and all that nonsense is stuff you need to do several times to get to different places, because there's bottles and treasures that you need to reach by going up to this high place and jumping down from it, but you can't get back up after having jumped down, so you need to go all the way around again, up to the top, jump down, and find the thing again. I can think of at least 3 instances you need to do this. And they're all 3 for 3 different bottles. Well, technically 4, because one of them leads to 2 different bottles and a treasure. So it's somewhat convenient, but fuck all, it's just stupid. I also would kind of like to talk about the PlayStation Vita version of this game, because if you don't know, the Sly Trilogy was released on PS3 and Vita. But here's the thing. Okay, let's rant a little bit again. The Sly Trilogy and Sly 4 are all cross-buy, and cross-buy means that you can buy a game for PlayStation 3 and you'll get a Vita version for free. It's really cool, especially with games like Sly 4 where you have cross-save, meaning you can actually transfer save files from your PS3 to your PS Vita. It's sort of like a more convoluted Nintendo Switch, right? You can be playing Sly 4 at home, and then you need to go travel or something, so you download the save file from the PS3 to the Vita first, and then you can just keep playing the game on your travels. It's genius! And of course it's an example of Nintendo and Sony having very similar functions that Nintendo generally do better, but this one Nintendo actually did 4 years later, so that's interesting. Anyway, how cross-buy works is that you can, for example, purchase a PS3 disc. You plop it in the system, and then obviously in addition to being able to play the game, you have an option called Disc Benefits. This will then add a PS Vita version to your PlayStation Network account. For some reason, my disc just doesn't have this. And I really don't know why. It could be that I bought the game used. I'm actually not certain of that. Because I bought it on sale a couple years ago when Game was closing down, and I don't remember if I got it from a used section or not. I just remember that it was 50% off, and that's great! But yeah, if I want to try the Vita version, I gotta buy it with money. But actually, funnily enough, at the time of recording this, the game's on sale. From the 22nd of December 2017 to the 20th of January 2018, you could actually get the game for about $10 US. I'm kinda butthurt that I'm not gonna get my free version, but hey, at least it's cheap. And I would like to compare the PS3 and Vita versions. But I haven't actually begun playing on the Vita version yet, so I don't have anything of substance to say just yet. But anyway, that was a lot of rambling, and we just got the final bottle, without me actually realizing it at the time. So just before we continue on with the preparations to take down Rajan, here is me realizing that I already had enough bottles 10 minutes ago. Wait, hang on. Oh my god, when the fuck did I get the last bottle? Oh no! I've been looking for the last bottle for so long. Because Hi, okay, with that egregious task out of the way, let's talk some more elephants.
Rajan is able to monitor all of our communications out here with that elephant-driven satellite array.
That's pretty grim. You got a plan for shutting it down?
Don't I always? Now, the local spice plants are illegal for good reason. Eat too many, and you'll go into a fit of uncontrolled rage.
Keep that stuff away from Murray. Oh, wait, I get it. I put some spice plants in the elephant's feed bag. He chows down, gets all crazy, and then presto, the satellite's in pieces.
A crude interpretation of the plan, but accurate. The trick here is harvesting the spice plants. You'll have to do some serious climbing, as they only grow high up in the jungle canopy.
We need to do some serious climbing in order to find these plants. Now you'll probably notice that these plants don't usually exist normally, by which I mean they only exist in this particular mission. So if you thought maybe, oh, I could just collect these beforehand or something, no, of course you can't. This level wouldn't allow you to be convenient in any way. That would be nice of it. Clearly this level doesn't like being that. But no, sorry, I've already rambled on negatively too long. That's a really awkward pose. So we got the first of the 6 plants we need for the elephant food thing. And as you can probably see, they're all going to be situated on these tall trees. Unfortunately, they're naturally all going to be marked with the GPS tracker. Unfortunately, the GPS tracker is about as helpful as you'd expect in this level, but nope, no. I couldn't go that fucking long until I had to say something negative about the level again. I'm sorry. It's difficult to keep in, as I said. Now this tower here can be a good place to start off, because about half or so of the plants are going to in some way be connected to this tower. So if anything, it's a good starting point at least. Because if you're paying attention to the ball collecting, you'll remember that this tower has a lot of branching... get it? Branching paths? Wow. That was just... That just sound... forest. No. It's not a forest, it's a jungle! God damn it, that didn't work! What rhymes with jungle? How can I use this? This jungle is a real strungle. No. Okay. There's nothing that rhymes with jungle! I don't know. I kind of wanted to say that this isn't really my favorite mission in this game, but let's be honest. There isn't that much about this level that is my favorite anything in this game. Wow, holy shit. Can I lighten up? Sorry. This level just brings me down. It's not a happy place to be. And I know I've already talked at length about why I don't like this level, but it's just also... I feel like kind of worth mentioning the atmosphere, because I don't like that a lot either, to be honest. Just the color scheme and the rain, and it's just... It all just feels like a bother to go through. Also notice how we're going through this stupid path again. For like the 4th time. Actually, no, it's not the 4th yet. It's the 3rd, and there's at least one more time that we need to because there's a treasure. But at least this was a lot shorter than the other times. For the following plants, it might be a good idea to climb up the tree here, the big one with the hideouts, because it'll lead to, of course, the next big tree. Whoa! And then this next big tree will lead to the tower, which will lead to the next big tree. In general, I guess that's kinda how you get anywhere in this level. Except this one is a little bit different, because there's no vines leading to it, so we need to use the mushroom that you can see laid out in front of it. But still going the way that I suggested is convenient, you know, above the hideout and all that, because it's still on the same general path. But in hindsight, I might have actually wanted to consider doing this one first instead of last, because this is the furthest away from where we need to take the plants.
Take all the spice plants you've collected to the elephant's feed basket.
Will do, Bentley. Thank you for the input.
Sayonara, satellite array.
Wow. If that's what it does to an elephant, I hate to see what it does to a Murray. Now for the last thing we do today, we have the infamous water bug run. Why is it infamous? Well, a lot of things Sucker Punch makes these days seem to be infamous, but this is different.
Sly, the insect in that pool is a rare Indian water bug. If you can carry it into Rajan's office, its wings will transmit local sound waves at a frequency I can monitor.
Let me get this straight. We're gonna bug Rajan's office with a bug?
It is an elegant plan, I agree. Now pay attention. That water bug can only survive in stagnant pools. If kept out of water too long, it'll become unhappy and likely draw the attention of local guards.
Looks like there's a few pools along the way to Rajan's office. A short swim every now and then should keep our little friend quiet.
But why is this infamous? Well, this water bug is kinda a bitch. Because if you leave it out of the water for too long, it's gonna start screaming, and that's gonna attract guards, making them want to attack you. A lot of people seem to find this difficult, and not to mention annoying. Especially when you consider that the water bug is essentially like a treasure, in the sense that if you get hit even once, there you can see it beginning to make noise, it'll return to its original location. Bleh, consonants. But yeah, while I can definitely see why people would say that, I kinda have to disagree. In fact, I like this mission a lot. I think it's kind of a highlight of this level. Well, that really doesn't prove my point. Okay, bad example. Because what I did there was really not the recommended route to go. In fact, before you start walking around with the water bug, you take out your binocular comps and you can see that there are all these water basins placed around the level. What you can do is to plan your routes and see what's most efficient to have the least amount of bug screaming action going on. I'll drop it here for demonstrative purposes, but god damn it, get out of the way. I personally enjoy trying to do this with as few water basin pauses as possible. Possible. Wow, I'm just trying way too hard today. I need to stop. Kind of weird thing about these basins, by the way. Well, basins themselves have actually pretty bad draw resistance, just like the bottles, but the steam they let off doesn't. And I guess it's probably because it's something that's easier for the game to render, so it has a longer draw distance, but you can use that to your advantage if you see these clouds of steam in the distance. But like I said, I like doing this while trying not to leave the bug to recharge. It makes you play the game in a very different way, because suddenly stealth just doesn't matter in the slightest, because no matter how quietly you walk, you're still gonna have this thinger back going like or, you know, however it's supposed to sound. I don't know, maybe it's just because I'm not a very stealthy guy in general. I'm kind of reckless and not planning aheady, which is definitely an adjective. But I mean, it's not really that hard either. We're already at the end. We just need to bounce up here, and then this is it. There's a final water basin if you, for some reason, would need that here. I can't really see the purpose of that, but whatever. In we go. Now in this room, this is Rajan's, I guess, office? His main seating area, at the very least. And this is, of course, where we're gonna place the bug. But first I want to make a note of something. Well, it doesn't matter if it's not streaming, there's no one here. The safe, however, is here. I think I'm just gonna go in and talk to it right now. Oh no, don't get hit by the lasers, that would be a bad idea. There are snakes here, but they're not gonna be bothered by the beetle.
Last code would have been impossible. Try 386.
Obviously, it's not a surprise that the bug is gonna be on my back, but I don't know, it's funny seeing it freak out like this. With that though, we get a new move. The voltage attack. This...
Got the
thank you, Bentley, is kind of a helpful move. It's at least very powerful. It is an instant KO. Personally, I find the Insanity Strike more fun, but it's also useful. And, whoa, you can see the sliding, stealth gliding thing that I didn't even buy yet. God, I haven't even shown off the Insanity Strike yet, so I'm not gonna bother selecting the voltage attack yet, but...
I've already tuned into the bug's wing vibrations. I'm a genius.
You really are. You're so much a genius that I find it a little bit hard to believe that you're actually able to pull this off. But you know what? Instead of just being doubtful, how about we just be positive and break things? Haha! I can do this now that I can be careless and not have to worry about losing my stupid bug. I actually don't know what happens if you lose your bug in this office or if you get hit by things. I wonder if he does go all the way back. He probably would actually, and you would have to restart the entire mission. Anyway, with all of that said and done, next time, we're gonna try and steal Rajan's blueprints directly from his person. Well, from his tiger, or... I mean, they're people too in this universe or something. I don't know. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you then.
I should be brewing the claw. I'm the source. I'm the supplier. Without me, their silly tinkering would go nowhere.